Hey traders, Jason here from Leavitt Brothers. Today I'm going to flip through some recent trades we've had. I haven't posted a video in a few weeks because I've been busy recording my masterclass, but I wanted to get in touch. So these are all trades that were profiled at Leavitt Brothers. It's not all of them, it's just a sampling of them. We've had a lot more. So how do we operate? Okay, for one, we trade in the direction of the dominant trend. Okay, I don't get into arguments about what the market should be doing or what it's supposed to do or whether it's being manipulated one way or another. I just trade in the direction of the trend. Okay, two, we play what's hot. At any given time, there'll be outperformers. And we just want to play those. We want to play the hot stocks. We want to play the hot groups, whatever they are at any given time. Okay, it could be electric vehicles. It could be Bitcoin stocks or software or whatever. Okay, we're not trading $1 billion, so it's not hard to rotate around to whatever's hot at any given time. And then three is like the obvious things, like protect your downside. And when you have a chance, push it a little bit. And go for the jugular if you're in a really good situation. All right, so let's go through some examples. All right, here's American Eagle. Broke out here. We profiled it right here. Unfortunately, gapped up, but you wait a few days. It comes down, back tests the previous area, and then it posts a pretty solid gain after that. Here is apps. Okay, this is a stock we traded numerous times over the last 6-8 months. The stock has trended up, up, sideways, up, back test, up, sideways, up. It's a recurring theme at Leavitt Brothers that when we find a stock that's acting well, we will pound away at it and trade it over and over and over. So this is a stock that's been profiled and on our trading list numerous times going back to the summer. It hasn't always been easy. There have been drops. There have been periods of consolidation, but overall the trend has been up. So for those who take profits on the big rallies and then stand aside and let the stock settle down, have done very, very well. AYRO, I consider this a lucky trade. Okay, we actually profiled it over here. Stock broke out. I mean, our initial targets were just here. I mean, there was a weak stock forming a large base. Who knows? Maybe it would come up here and come back down or something like that. I don't know what it's going to do. So our initial target was just around 4, a little bit after 4, and obviously it did much better. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you just follow your plan and you trail it with a stop, and every once in a while you do get lucky. And in this case we did because the electric vehicle group did very well at that time. Billy, standard trade. For many years this stock was kind of a mess. Okay, even this is only a couple months, but going back many years, it kind of traded in a large range. It finally broke out. We got some big volume here. Then it traded in a consolidation pattern. This is when we profiled it, and then it just broke out and ran up. Pretty standard, normal trade that we do. CLF, commodities are going to be a trend, a theme for next year. CLF broke out here. This stock is one of those that just has lulled people to sleep for many years because it has just never really been able to trend. But in this case, it did. It broke out. We have some volume here at the end of the base. Decent volume here over the breakout. Moves up. We first profiled it here. We're looking for just like a move up. Unfortunately, gapped up, but then it came back down, tested the 21 on the daily chart, paused at the previous highs, and then broke out and did really well. And now it looks like we have another setup right here. So we're looking for higher prices. All right, CLSK, this one's been a little bit of a surprise. We profiled it over here. It broke out, did very well. We profiled it again over here, and obviously we're getting a little bit lucky. Anytime you get like this kind of a move, I'm not going to take credit for that. I'll take credit for posting strong stock, uptrend, good group, everything's on board, tons of volume here. Like everything looks great. And our price target was 24. But I was thinking, move up to 21 and come back and do some of this and then eventually get up there in a few weeks. I didn't think it'd go there in 2 or 3 days. So the trade is solid. I'll take credit for that. But the fact that it moved there so quickly, that's just luck. I'll admit that. DVAX was a trade from November, broke out here, didn't go far before pulling back, but then it actually moved up to our target. Our first target was 5.5. But now with the stock moving like this, getting compressed by converging trend lines, I'll be posting this as a continuation play up to 6.5. Enphase, super strong stock, super strong group. Solar's been on our radar for months. This stock has moved sideways and up and sideways and up and sideways and up. And this is a stock that we've pounded away at. We've profiled it numerous times. And overall, it has treated us really well. There was the breakout here. There was a, base there. We had it as a breakout here, and then another breakout there. So overall, it's done incredibly well. For anyone who's just simply bought dips, maybe added on breakouts, managed their trades, they've done really well. This is an example of a stock that we've pounded away at and played numerous times going back several months. Etsy, okay. Overall trend up, but obviously it rolls up and down a lot, so you got to be aware of the personality of the stock. Okay, so if you play like that kind of a breakout, you know that, hey, we got a trade, but you know that the personality of the stock says take your profits and step aside, because it doesn't often trade sideways. It'll actually do a lot of backing and filling. So it did the same thing here where it broke out and then came all the way back down. So we profiled it right here as a trade, as not just a breakout trade, but just a strong stock uptrend basing. Looking for like a measured move here, 120 up to 145. So we're looking for a move up, and we got it, and it went through our target. And as today, it's continuing on. Farfetch, again, another one of those lucky ones where I'll take credit for posting it as a really good trade because it was a strong stock. It had trended up, moved sideways. We're looking to play a continuation here. And it broke out and it's continued. And lucky for anyone who traded it, it's never really, until this day here, it never pulled back enough to get you stopped out. So great setup, great everything on board here. Everything looked pretty good. And then the fact that it's gone from, it's gone from 30 up to into the 60s is more luck that it did it so steadily and consistently that you can just ride it with a trailing stop without getting out. Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Trust, obviously Bitcoin is doing incredibly well. We think this is going to be another one of the themes for next year. Bitcoin, recently broke out at 20,000. I think it could easily double or triple this year. And if it does that, obviously this stock, which tracks Bitcoin, is going to continue to do really well. So we didn't play the breakout from the base there, but we did profile it right over here. Okay, it ran up, then another resistance line formed, so that gives us a frame of reference that it did this, and now it's doing really well again. So Bitcoin's in play, and we're going to continue to play this. This might be a stock that we play over and over next year. GME, kind of left for dead because everything's going digital, and these guys are a brick and mortar store. But it's done really well. We've actually, we profiled it here. When you profiled it here, did really well, came back, tested its 50-day moving average, formed this pattern here, and then broke out not too long ago and has rallied up. So another little bit of a surprise because, in the days of tech and digital and this and that, and here's a brick and mortar store that we played, and it goes from 12 to 16, so that counts. I mean, that's like a 33% gain for a boring old retail outlet. We'll take it. The money counts. GP, lucky one here, formed a big base. Resistance here. We're at our first trade. We profiled the stock over here. We said breakout at 11, target 14. Obviously, it gapped up that second day and just sliced right through and kept going. So then we established a target at the high, and it went right through that too. Okay, like I said before, take full credit for the setup, but the fact that it worked so well, that's luck. Okay, you're not going to get stocks that go from 10, 11 up to 30 something in 2 weeks. That's like once in a long time that happens. But so you play them correctly, trail it with a stop, and every once in a while you'll get lucky. Most of the time you won't. Most of the time this is going to come up and hit your target, and then it's either going to fail, or it's going to do some backing and filling and do something like this, or if it's really strong, it'll actually hold up and trade in a range and then continue on. Okay, so you play it correctly with your system, and every once in a while you get lucky. Jemiah was a favorite of ours. Okay, we first profiled it back here as a breakout, and it moved quickly to our target, which was somewhere over here. It ended up continuing up, forming this pattern here. We stepped aside for earnings, but once earnings were out of the way, it was playable again, and it's done incredibly well. Not easy to sit through this. I actually did sit through all this stuff, and today it's at a new high, not an all-time high, but a new high. Kirkland's another stock that we traded over and over and over. We've probably traded this thing five, 6 times. We noticed early that it was a strong stock trending up. Trades in here. And then, again, once we find a stock that we really like, that's acting well, that's adhering to moving averages, that just seems to be acting really well and is trending up and the market's doing well, we will pound away at that stock over and over and over, just like trading. We've traded this thing, again, like 5, 6 times going back to last summer. And our most recent trade coming out of this base area here, came up here, went through the highs, and now it has continued on. Leavitt in the electric vehicle space, at least it's related. They don't make electric vehicles, but they're in the space. Base here breaks out, settles back in, kind of tests the 50, and then broke out and moved. Not easy, not exciting. The scale on the right side here is in 0.5 increments, so not a high flyer, but still did pretty well overall. Mara, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's been one of our big winners lately. Base here, we first profiled it over here, and obviously it's done much better than we could have possibly expected. Not always easy. Broke out and went up huge. This is can be a little bit uncomfortable, but if you're watching Bitcoin and you're a believer in what's going on, then it was like, this wasn't so uncomfortable. You can just hold and just wait. And obviously it's done incredibly well. Just in the last couple of weeks, it's like tripled. Net, pretty standard play, just trend up, consolidate, trend up, consolidate. We had it as a breakout here. We had it as a breakout here. Okay, and when I say breakout, I don't mean like you have to wait till it breaks out. Oftentimes I'm buying dips within patterns. When I recognize a pattern forming like this, okay, I'm zooming in with a 60-minute chart, and I'm looking for entries within the pattern, because what happens is if you get a move that comes up to here and then fails to take out a previous high, then oftentimes I can still get out with a little bit of a profit rather than waiting for the breakout. And then if you get a failure, now you definitely have a loss. Okay, so I actually like to find strong stocks that are consolidating within uptrends, and I'll buy those dips within the uptrends, because if all you do is get a move back to the high and then it comes back down, well, you still have a profit. Let me flip through the rest of these a little bit quicker. NEO's a stock we've traded over and over and over. For me personally, I've probably made more money with the stock than any others this year. It's just moved up and over, up and over, and up and over. It has been trending up pretty much all year, at least for the last 7-8 months. And I've just pounded away at this. I've had a core position going back over to here, and I've traded around it with options and stock, and just bought dips and just kept pounding away at it. So this has been my number one stock this year, and I expect it to keep going. It's not gonna be as big as Tesla, but certainly in the next year it can get close to 100. PAA was one of our oil plays. Okay, just a normal base. Formed a resistance level at 7, broke out and trended up. Doesn't look like much. Oil is boring, blah, blah, blah. You can make all the excuses you want, but a move from 7 to into the 9s is a fantastic move. If you can do that, over and over, even if you only have a couple of those per month, you're doing great. PACB is a stock that we've traded several times. Okay, trended up, consolidate here, moved up, didn't go too far. Very quietly moved against the trend here on light volume, and then it broke out and trended up really well, and it's on our list right now. So the last 2 days have been good for us as it moves from 20 up to the mid-20s. Plug's been on our list several times. Okay, broke out here, hit our target, came down, tested the 50-day moving average, moved back up to the high, which was our target, and then it kept going. So this is a stock that's done really well. It's not an electric vehicle pure play, but it's kind of in that space. So it's definitely benefited from, from the strength in that space. Peloton, sloppy, but trended up. We didn't play it anywhere over here, but it trended up when it pulled back off its high. We recognized this base forming here, so we profiled it in here. Took a couple weeks here, but finally it got going. Riot blockchain, another Bitcoin stock. Big base here, breakout there, come up here, another breakout, boom. Stock's done incredibly well on a percentage basis. Just in the last 2 months, it's gone from like, $2-3 all the way up to, 12, 13 or so. In the last couple of weeks, this has been my number one stock. I've made more money with this stock than any other stock. These pullbacks here have been buying opportunities, which I've taken advantage of. We got another one just like last Friday, and now the stock's up at a new high. And again, if Bitcoin does well, if Bitcoin doubles, triples, goes up to 50,000, like a stock like this could go from, right now it's about 12, 13. I mean, this stock could easily double or triple, maybe even more next year if Bitcoin does well. SunPower, steady trend up, consolidate, up, consolidate. We've traded the stock numerous times this year. Trill moved up, consolidate for a couple months, broke out, 16, moved to 19. Kind of boring, but it works. Unity Software, IPO, moved up sideways for a couple weeks, I should say, and then steadily moved up. Kind of sloppy, big range. Takes a strong stomach to trade a stock like this, but the trend was up. You get this often with IPOs, is that at some point in time after it goes public, it's going to form some sort of a base, and when it could remove itself from the base, where it kind of did like over here, came back down and tested the base, that's your sign. So it's hard to buy something over here because you had all the opportunity to buy it here. But if you buy here, you don't know if the stock's going to keep going sideways. But by waiting until this happens, odds are really good it's going to keep going. Okay, last chart. Couple more charts. So here's very, big base here. Broke out. We had targets like here, and it just surprised us. It kept going. So I'll take credit for posting it as a good setup because it met a lot of things that we look for. But the fact that it did so well, it's more luck than anything. X, US Steel, broke out of a base. Commodities have been really kind of dead lately, but actually in the last couple of months they've come alive. So maybe that's going to be one of the themes for next year is commodities. So X broke out here, and then it moved up and broke out and formed a resistance line there, and then broke out and doubled, which is completely unexpected for this particular stock because it doesn't do that well often. Last chart, XPEV, another electric vehicle, base here, broke out. Hard to play until we had some perspective here, and then it just broke out and ran with the group. All right, so nothing fancy here, just strong stocks doing well at the exact same time the market was doing well. Again, I don't fight with the market. I don't argue with the market. I don't care if stocks are overvalued. I don't care if they're doing something they're not supposed to do. All I know is if they're trending up, they're acting well, I want to get involved. Okay, if the market's doing well, I'm going to look at whatever's hot, whatever's just doing really well at that point in time, and I'm just going to play those. And if you focus on strength at a time that the market's doing well, you'll do fine. All right, thanks for listening. I will see you next time.